Good evening and welcome to Spotlight on Cheshire. My name is Patti Flynn-Harris, and I'm delighted this evening to have two representatives of the Cheshire Young Democrats here with me this evening to talk about what's been going on in town with the Young Ds. I've got Liam McCaffrey, who is presently the treasurer. The secretary. Secretary of the Young Ds, and Catherine Wang, who's the treasurer. I was going to swap your titles there for you, maybe boost one of you. So it's good to see you. I haven't seen you since the fall, since we had a lot of fun running around town.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. But I want to talk about, because a lot of people don't know about the Young Ds, what you do, how long you've been involved, and let's just chat. Catherine, you start. How long have you been involved with the Young Democrats in town?
Well, I've been involved since freshman year. Before coming to the high school, I knew of the club. I've always been interested in politics, so I knew I wanted to join it. Currently, we have around 80 registered or members, I believe.
Okay.
So it's a growing club. It's very big and one of the most active at the high school.
I know it's been very active for the past couple of terms of cycles, election cycles, as more and more of the Young Ds have gotten involved. But I didn't realize it was as high as 80, because sometimes there's a lot more, I think, Young Ds around when we do this. When you knew about it, what, in junior high? Is that how you?
Yes,
okay.
I did.
Because you had other friends that had been in it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's neat. That's a great way of knowing that the word is spreading and bringing people in. Is that how you got involved too?
Yeah, I heard nice things about it in junior high, and freshman year, I think the first couple weeks of school, we heard it on the announcements about Young Democrats. So I went with some of my friends, decided to go check it out, and after that, I just really kind of fell in love with politics and campaigning.
That's great. That's great to hear. So other than last fall with the local election, what other campaigns have you guys been involved in? Have you done anything on the state? Were you involved with Governor Malloy's?
Yeah, for Governor Malloy's campaign in 2010, we were in 8th grade, but I remember Sean Kenyon, who was the president.
Yes.
He's a great kid. He goes to Harvard now.
Yeah.
And he was one of the main people for Malloy's campaign. He was one of the first people on the campaign.
Yeah. So in other words, he roped a lot of people in.
Yeah, he did. He definitely got the vote out.
He did. So you are accumulating some campaign war stories the way that he did, because he told some great stories when they were going on Malloy's campaign with friends and canvassing in different parts of the state. Now, with Malloy's campaign, do you think you'll be involved this fall also?
Yeah, definitely. The Young Democrats, we help out on state elections, local elections, anything we can.
And do you know now where you would fit in? How does that work when you start? I mean, I know on a local level, and most people involved in local politics know how we bring you in. Mm-hmm. You're very active here. You're an integral part of the Democratic Party. And, we visit you, you visit us, and you know what's going on. But when it goes to a larger group, on a state level, how does that work? Is there somebody that coordinates specifically with you?
Usually there's a field director for a campaign. So for Malloy's campaign, which we'll be working on soon, someone will probably reach out to us, and our job is to basically help out any way that they need us to, because that's what we're there for. So we usually just go and knock on doors and make phone calls and do whatever we can to help the governor.
How do you feel about that? How is knocking on doors? What kind of an experience is that? Have you done that too,
Yeah.
Kathy? You have?
Well, at first, especially as maybe an underclassman, it might be a little scary.
Yeah.
After a while, though, you get used to it. Whether you're just dropping or actually talking to the people, it's a great experience. You teach people about what these candidates are running for, and at the same time you get to learn a lot yourself. So I think it's a great experience.
So it means that you really have to be involved with the candidate too. You have to feel comfortable.
Yes.
We're very happy that you liked all of us and worked so hard for us in the fall. But on the bigger level, that's important, because going door to door in different areas of a state that you don't really know and you don't have a background for, you have to be really comfortable to do that. Is that the best part? Is that not the best part? What's the best part of working on campaigns?
I think, knocking on doors, it's tough, because you always get the people that don't agree with the candidate. They slam the door in your face. That happens. But it's also rewarding kind of talking to the people and listening to what they have to say and what they think about what's going on.
Well, that's really important, I think, because quite honestly, there are some candidates myself included at times, that really aren't comfortable going door to door because it is a lot of work. So when you go to a different area and you are going to people that you don't know in neighborhoods that you don't know, I would think it would be a little nerve-wracking. But if you're comfortable with the campaign and the candidate and what they stand for, I guess that's important, huh?
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking sometimes, especially when you're not, say, canvassing or lit dropping in Cheshire. We've been to Southington, Meriden, Waterbury.
Have you really?
Yes.
I didn't realize you had done anything in Waterbury.
Yeah, we've been all over the place.
Wow. Wow.
You get used to it after a while, though, and overall it's a very enjoyable experience.
So since both of you have been interested kind of in politics before you got involved, and this certainly, the experience through high school has, whetted your appetite more, what do you think in the future? What kind of goals are you looking at? I know both of you are going to be seniors next year, right? Mm-hmm. So you're both in the process of starting to think about colleges and put in your apps and whatever. You're going to be looking towards colleges that are more of a political flavor, or is there something else you're interested in and this is going to be on the side? What are you looking at?
I definitely want to major in either political science or international relations.
Okay.
So I'll probably be looking at universities that are more towards liberal arts, I guess.
Okay. All right. And Liam?
Yeah, I can definitely see myself doing politics when I'm older.
Yeah.
And something that I can definitely enjoy in college.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to studying it.
Maybe the Washington area, maybe D.C. and GW, or... because that's a great place to get involved in politics.
Yeah, I love D.C.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. So that being like a future, one of the other important things is in thinking about also what your actual career and businesses are and will be once you graduate. If politics isn't the main thrust, can you first, I hate to ask this question, but can you see yourselves coming back to Cheshire and staying and living in Cheshire and making Cheshire your home still? Or do you have dreams of going out and beyond?
Well, everyone that likes politics, we all have the dream of kind of living down in D.C. and kind of running the Capitol and, being a congressman one day. But I can definitely see growing up in Cheshire, or coming back to Cheshire after growing up here. It's a great place.
Okay.
So.
You know why I'm asking. Because we're going to need candidates in the future, so. What about you, Catherine?
Well, I love Cheshire a lot, too. I've lived here since I was 2.
Yeah.
But I think I personally aspire something on a much larger scale, hopefully. Something, not necessarily, I guess, politics, but even international relations or something to do with public policy on maybe a national or even possibly a global level, because I like working in those areas and just being exposed to whether it be other cultures or helping within the nation.
Yeah, and as I said, that's one of the silly reasons to ask the question, because of saying we need candidates. But I think the important thing that we have seen, and I didn't grow up all my life in Cheshire, but I've certainly been here for the majority of it. It's so important to know that we have people that are interested in the foundation of the town and are willing to do some work, which is what you're doing now, and just on a larger level. But especially going forward, something as wonderful a dream as that, just as long as you keep in touch with us and Facebook with us and, whatever. I don't tweet yet, but what schools are you looking towards?
Like you said earlier, something in the D.C. area would be great, because I've had some friends that go to George Washington, and they say that if you go there, that there's a good chance that you can get an internship on Capitol Hill, which would be awesome.
Yes, definitely. Well, you've made enough contacts, I think, here in the state. That would certainly help going forward. So what are some of the goals for the Young Ds for next year? Do we have anything that you're looking at for the actual organization, and looking forward to growing them or molding them? What are important things for them today in Cheshire?
I think kind of getting out there and experiencing what politics really is. Because some kids join, they think that we're just going to sit at school and kind of talk and discuss the issues. But at the same time, it's also really interesting to go out there and knock on doors and listen to what people have to say. So.
That's important, because I got the impression, too, that there were especially some new members this past year. They do get involved because of the excitement of the campaign. but I didn't know whether or not they really had a good feel for what it was and what the Democratic Party and the standards and the planks that we follow or try to follow as a party, and whether or not they were staying with you. So,
well, the first meeting we have, we introduce new students to what we basically do. We explain to them what lit dropping is, what canvassing and phone banking are.
Yep.
Then throughout the year, or usually during November or earlier October or September, we had some of the town candidates this year to come in and to speak to the Young Democrats. So not only are they educating themselves at school and having some personal time with these candidates on weekends or even on weekdays, they have the opportunity to go out and actually work. So I think that's the great part of Young Democrats, that not only is it, I guess, a hands-on experience, at the same time you are educated, you gain more knowledge, but all the while you're working alongside the candidates themselves.
that's great. That really is. That's one thing that unfortunately I wasn't able to do this year, is come and visit. But when you take over, maybe I'll get a chance to do that. So they're going to give me the high sign that we've talked enough. I don't know whether or not we have. Is there anything that you've learned from campaigning that you never knew before that you really enjoyed learning?
So much. I don't really know where to begin, but one thing I know is that the entire campaign process is very tiring. It's a lot of hard work. I saw that mostly with SD's campaign, but also on the town level, the state level, every level. And the best experience I've gained out of it is probably, like I said, the hands-on experience.
Yes.
Being able to talk to people, being able to talk to the candidates themselves.
Yep.
Everything has been very rewarding.
Wonderful.
I'd say that, people say in politics, my vote doesn't really count. I can't really make a difference. But after 3 years of Young Democrats, I think that's really not true, because like we had in November with the town elections, we had a couple of races that were decided by double digits or even single digit votes. And even with the congressional race back in 2012 with Elizabeth Esty, where she beat Andrew Rohraback by, I think, 1 or 2 percentage points.
Yes.
Hard work and talking to the voters, knocking on doors really counts.
That and a lot of pizza.
Yeah, a lot of food.
A lot of pizza. A lot. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best in the next couple of years, okay?
Thank you.
Both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And thank you for watching, and hopefully tune in for our next segment. Good evening and welcome to Spotlight on Cheshire. My name is Patti Flynn-Harris, and I am delighted this evening to have two representatives from the Cheshire Young Democrats Club at the high school. I have with me on my right Liam Nickel, who is this year's president, senior at the high school, and on my left Jake Ecke, also a senior. Not a holder of any title here, but still an active young D. Shamed you right away. I'm glad you guys could stop by. Let's start with you. You're president. How long have you been president now, Liam?
Well, this is my first year as president, but last year I was the secretary. So Liam, who spoke before, the other Liam, or
right.
Liam squared, half of it, we kind of shared the same job, and it's interesting to see how he does what I used to do, and hopefully how him or Catherine or someone else will assume what I'm doing now. And it's nice to see how being in charge, it's a whole different view on what's going on, because now I can have more of an input on the things that are going on, and it's really just a great experience.
So it was really only a year that you were president? It's a term of a year? I thought it was 2. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, every year we'll have elections.
Okay.
So like Liam's been the secretary for a year, and I've been the president for a year and the secretary for my junior year.
Okay.
So it'll be every election at the end of the year.
And you've been involved with the club all 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So came in as freshman and right away, ground floor?
Not exactly right away, as you wouldn't expect. I had fall baseball. So, but of course, I found it extremely important, and as time went on in my career at the high school, I found out that this is one of the most important things you can do as a young person, is to get involved especially when you can make such a big difference.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, Jake, I know you've been involved for a couple of years, not, I think,
Yes.
since the beginning.
Yeah, I've had a kind of a unique situation. My father's been involved in local politics for a long
Yes.
time. So my freshman year, kind of an immature move on my part, I decided I'm going to be going to the events already. Why should I join the club? But you know, I have wisened up a little bit, and I've joined the club, and it's been a fantastic decision. It's great to get to see people like Liam and Catherine and Liam again.
Yeah.
It's great to get to see these kids over and over at all these events and
Yeah.
have someone to talk to when you want to discuss something. Mm-hmm. And it's been a very rewarding experience.
Well, that's one of the things that I was interested in, too, because we've spoken before about, you know, being involved in campaigns and the work that that does. But we'll talk a little bit more about the structure of the organization. I know that students who get involved get activity points, or you put in hours, activity hours, which is really a credit to them for, you know, their scholastic year. How does that work?
So for hours, what we do is it takes 15 hours to be considered a member of our club, and until then, you're kind of in a volunteer, I guess we could say.
Okay.
But of course, officers, we expect a lot more of officers. I put in over 100 hours this year. Last year, I think our officers was at about 2,000 hours.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
It really gets kind of crazy how much we do, but it's so rewarding that it's totally worth it.
So they do. Is there a maximum number of hours that they accredit, or that they get credited for, or do we give them bonus point? I just didn't know how those hours applied to
There is
their
most
grade.
definitely not a maximum.
Okay.
Because there have been kids. We have like a 1,000 hours club, which I actually am not in, but I guess hopefully I made an impact in my time here. But people like Liam and I believe Andrew Carroll and Sean Kenyon, they all put in well above their time, and so
they probably started that club, didn't they?
Yeah, I know.
Groundbreakers.
They've been there from the beginning, and they've always put in the work.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be a part of that, where not only can I put in my own work, but I can help everyone else put the same amount of effort in.
So when we're not in regular meetings, when you're not campaigning with us or a state or a federal campaign, what goes on in a weekly meeting or bi-weekly meeting? Do you actually talk about issues?
Yeah, sometimes we'll talk about issues. We still like to try to go to any events that we can and to stay involved. It's really important to continue to discuss issues also, to make sure that we're aware of what we're campaigning for when it is campaign season, to make sure that we know what's going on and we're not just out there, you know, vying for someone that we really don't know. So we try to pay close attention to what our representatives and senators are doing down in Washington, what the local officials are doing, so that when it does come time to campaign, we know who we're representing when we're out there and who we're pushing forward.
So even as in the off cycle like this is for us, last year was our election on the local, you're still watching what we're doing, you're still aware of the issues that are coming in front of town council, and you're still aware of what's being faced, what, for example, Representative Vesti will face in her campaign, and what the senators are looking at. You're still always aware of that.
Absolutely. That's very important. I think the local government especially plays a larger role than most people recognize. So it's important to make sure we know what they're doing, and in Washington, make sure we know what Congresswoman Vesti is doing, and that way we can be better prepared to help her with her campaign.
Definitely.
On the local level.
One of the things that I was really impressed with the club, and have been for the past couple of election cycles, Liam, is that there's an organizational structure that you, the whole club, the members, and especially primarily, obviously, the officers, because you're leading everybody, have brought to the table, and being able to organize the rest of the volunteers as they're making their hours. Is that something you guys are especially looking for when you're looking at, and have you taken courses, or is that some training that you've gotten or has been passed on from other past presidents? Because that really has been very good.
It's funny that you think that there would be training, because actually our training comes from being in the club for previous years, and especially learning from our past presidents and officers. it's rewarding that we get to meet so many great people, not only outside of the club but within our club. There's so many wonderful people, and especially with the officers, they all show a bigger sense of responsibility than the average student, I guess, at CHS. It's really interesting to see how people step it up when they know that they're in this prestigious position, and they really need to step up their own game, I guess, and they put in extra hours. And actually, what you were talking about before about organization, from around our club, so not exactly within it.
Yes.
We often have to keep in contact with people like you, of course, and a lot of field directors from different campaigns.
Sure.
So it's not just from within, we have to really reach out.
Yeah, well, and prestigious I want to come back to, but I was going to tease you and say I would hope that, you know, if I was able to teach you anything, it was definitely how to organize a lit drop this past year, because that was something even I learned how to do well. But prestigious was a great term that you used, because this Cheshire Young Democrat Club has been recognized on a national basis.
Yeah, we have been ranked, I guess, the best chapter in America by the Young Democrats of America. And also, we find that a lot of politicians or just everyday people, they see what we're doing. And it's not just us who know what we're doing, it's the world around us. And it's awesome because sometimes, as I said, we have to reach out to them, but also sometimes they reach out to us, because we really do have a pretty good hold on Cheshire politics, because we have such a big force of 80 volunteers, and everyone's extremely dedicated. So it's really awesome that we have that kind of power and ability.
It's been wonderful to see how, as you say, that other areas, people, in fact, I remember a couple of years ago, it was the 2nd District even was asking you to, you know, send volunteers down to help Larson, and I was like, whoa, that's, you know, way out of town. That's one thing to do Waterbury, but in Southington. You're going to Gettysburg?
I am planning to go to Gettysburg College. I think I'm going to do a double major in international affairs and public policy. So definitely going to be getting more than my fair dose of politics while I'm in college.
Yeah.
And I would like to get involved in student government and Young Democrats, college Democrats there. So I definitely plan to continue this involvement throughout my time.
Do they have a strong one down there, Jake? Do they have?
They do have a college Democrats program. Not sure how strong they are. I guess I'll find out shortly.
Yes,
but
plan to take over.
If it's not strong, I'll do my best to get it there.
Of course. And I understand that Gettysburg does have a strong political connection too, and it seems that you know, they do a lot of internships down in D.C.
Yeah, they actually have their own institute in D.C. that each semester 20 undergraduates get to go there, and they do internships in senators' offices and representatives. They go in the Capitol. They've been able to sit in on the gallery during a House session and everything. So if I was able to do that, I think it would be a pretty special experience.
I think it would be too.
Prepare me for the future.
Of course, I certainly expect him to come back to town. So, and you're going to Bowdoin.
Yes, I am.
And how is their political flavor? Are they active? Are you looking that there's going to be a good base for you up there?
Yeah, Bowdoin is a great school for government. I know it was ranked #1 actually by the London School of Economics a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So they have a very great program, mostly educationally, because of its proximity to Washington.
Yes.
It's about 10 hours.
Yes.
But it's great because their Young Democrats, or their College Democrats group, actually is extremely important in the main political structure.
Good.
And I know that they've been helping out a lot with their governor races and their senatorial races, and it is really cool to watch, especially in a small community, and a mostly liberal community, let's be honest,
yes.
that everyone kind of comes together, and their chapter's very large for the size of the school. So it's awesome, and like Jake said, I'll be most likely majoring in government and
yes.
Hopefully a language. I'm thinking Arabic, because
really?
A lot of people are misunderstood because of past events, and it's important that I think we are respectful of other cultures to the fullest extent. So I know Gettysburg is a great place to do something like that, and Bowdoin's a great place to do something like that, because the people are all very welcoming, and it's a great place to get your education.
I will say that one of the things that I think about that's really wonderful about the town, and especially the high school, we have had such growth to a certain degree that we have a wonderfully diverse student population, and some of the young Ds that I just met in September, their first years and such, that really have very little background in politics or American government, that I thought that this was such a great experience for them to learn and see how it, in fact, and unfortunately get disappointed and understand that you don't always win. But
we all know how that works.
Yeah, we do. But I got to tell you, I got to thank you and your advisor, Miss Hogue. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Hogue, for guiding you for the past couple of years. She's been a wonderful person, I know, to help the club grow. And thank you for all the work that you've done, you did for us, and the best of luck on your college careers. And you guys, I know we'll hear from. I know that. So
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, good. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
Look
for
forward to
having
seeing
us.
you in the next coming years. And thank you for watching Spotlight on Cheshire. And hopefully you'll watch all of our segments on Thursday nights on Public Access. Thank you.